The emergency alert klaxons screamed across Galactic Academy Station Delta as Nixari Vialstrom burst into Professor Krell's advanced xenobiology class. Her 4 azure arms trembled, all 7 eye stalks quivering in what her human classmates recognized as extreme distress. "It's starting!" she gasped, her translator barely keeping up with her rapid clicks. "The Coach War! It's begun on Terra!" The classroom fell silent. 23 species represented, and not one made a sound. The humans, however, exchanged confused glances. "That's impossible," whispered Darian Frost, a third-generation space colonist from Europa. "Earth is just Earth." Professor Krell, a centaurian with metallic scales and the patience of geological formations, blinked his compound eyes slowly. "Class dismissed. All non-human students, evacuate to safety pods immediately. Human students, report to conference. Hall Epsilon." As the extraterrestrial students fled in organized panic, the 12 humans remained frozen in bewilderment. Terra, Earth, had many nicknames across the galaxy, but Death World was the most common. Yet despite their homeworld's fearsome reputation, humans had been peaceful members of the Galactic Confederation for nearly 80 years. "What's a Coach War?" Lumi Okonkwo asked, her neo-quantum mechanics textbook forgotten on her desk. No one answered. The humans filed out silently toward Conference Hall Epsilon, passing frightened alien students rushing in the opposite direction. The station's massive view portal showed the swirling nebula beyond, peaceful and eternal. Nothing looked like war. The stars shone as they always had. In the conference hall, Admiral Prentice awaited them. A veteran of the First Contact crisis, his weathered face bore the enhanced neural implants of Terran Special Command. "Sit down," he ordered, activating a holographic display. "What I'm about to show you is classified level Omega." The display flickered to show Earth, beautiful blue marble that had birthed humanity, and then zoomed rapidly to North America, to a small town in what was once called Nebraska. "Oak Ridge High School, population 412 students," Prentice stated flatly. Yesterday, Coach Maverick Reeves challenged Coach Kaida Okamura from East Ridge High to what humans call a friendly competition. This morning, their disagreement escalated. The footage showed 2 ordinary humans arguing beside a sports field. "Nothing special, just 2 people in athletic wear gesturing at each other." "I don't understand," said Alara Kapoor, cybernetics major. "People argue all the time. How is this war?" Admiral Prentice's expression darkened. "Because the Galactic Confederation has been monitoring Earth's coaches for generations, ever since we realized what they truly are." He tapped the display, and the image changed to show biometric data overlaid on the coaches. Their cellular structures were highlighted, showcasing something impossible, something alien. "Coaches aren't human," he said simply. "They never were. They are ancient entities that chose Earth as their battleground millennia ago, disguising themselves as fitness instructors, sports mentors, and physical education teachers. When they go to war..." The display shifted to historical footage. The eruption of Vesuvius, the Tunguska event, the unexplained Carolina Bays, all with timestamp correlations to what appeared to be sporting events. "The Confederation has kept this secret from humanity to prevent panic," Prentice continued. "We've managed to contain their conflicts for centuries through careful intervention. But now..." The current footage resumed, showing the 2 coaches shaking hands with cold smiles, a ritual that initiated what the galaxy recognized as formal combat declaration. "Their war has begun," Admiral Prentice concluded grimly, "and you 12 are the only humans with the necessary clearance and proximity to help us stop it before they destroy your homeworld, and possibly the entire sector." Darian Frost stood up, voice shaking. "But we're just students. What can we possibly do against beings that powerful?" Admiral Prentice's gaze swept across the room. "Because you have the one thing they never expected. You were trained by them. You bear their mark, their techniques. Every human child who has ever run laps, done push-ups, or played organized sports has been unknowingly prepared. For what? Lumi asked. To become living weapons in a war older than your civilization, Prentice replied. To the combat pods. We deploy in 20 minutes. Hurtling through hyperspace aboard the Confederation stealth cruiser Intrepid, the 12 human students struggled to process Admiral Prentice's briefing. The ship's quantum engines hummed beneath their feet as Earth grew larger in the view screen. The entities we call coaches arrived on Earth approximately 15,000 years ago, explained Dr. Vareen Liang, xenobiologist and the Admiral's chief science officer. Her eyes reflected the holographic display showing ancient cave paintings of tall figures directing human hunters. They chose Earth because of its unique position at the confluence of 17 cosmic ley lines, a perfect arena for their eternal conflict. But why disguise themselves as coaches? Asked Orion Diaz, double major in astrophysics and comparative alien psychology. Why not generals or politicians? Prentice snorted. Would you suspect the person teaching dodgeball of being an ancient cosmic entity? Their brilliance was in their mundanity. Dr. Liang continued, they feed on competitive energy, achievement, and the particular neurochemical cocktail humans produce during physical exertion. By positioning themselves as mentors encouraging these activities, they created the perfect self-sustaining energy source. The display shifted to show Coach Reeves and Coach Okamura, their human disguises now seeming paper-thin to the students, newly informed eyes, the slight shimmer around their forms, the too-perfect posture, the way light bent subtly around them, all signs of entities compressing themselves into three-dimensional space. For millennia, they maintained a fragile peace, each entity claiming territory through school districts and team affiliations. The truce was maintained by a complex system of ritualized competition, what humans call sports seasons, Prentice explained. But something has changed. Intelligence suggests Coach Reeves discovered Coach Okamura has been siphoning potential energy from his district by recruiting promising athletes. Ilara Kapoor frowned. That happens all the time. Schools compete for talented kids. Yes, but not usually with interdimensional harvesting technology, Dr. Liang replied, displaying scans of East Ridge High School's newly renovated gymnasium. See these patterns in the flooring? Ancient cosmic sigils disguised as motivational court markings. And the scoreboard? Quantum entanglement device. The ship shuddered as it dropped out of hyperspace, Earth now looming large before them. Scattered Confederation vessels maintained perimeter positions, cloaked from Earth's primitive detection systems. We have less than 48 hours before their conflict escalates beyond containment, Prentice said grimly. Once they shed their human forms completely, the consequences will be catastrophic. Lumi raised her hand. You still haven't explained how we're supposed to stop godlike entities from destroying our planet. Prentice smiled thinly and pressed a button. A hidden compartment in the briefing room opened, revealing 12 metallic cylinders. Because you've been drinking their power your entire lives, he said. Every sports drink, every protein shake, every energy booster your coaches gave you contained nanoscopic fragments of their essence, part of their recruiting process. You've been marinating in cosmic energy since childhood. He tossed one cylinder to Darian. These will help you channel that energy. We call them whistle keys. They can temporarily disrupt a coach's manifestation field. Darian examined the cylinder. It looked exactly like a referee's whistle. You want us to referee a cosmic war? He asked incredulously. In a manner of speaking, said Dr. Liang. These entities respect only one thing above their conflict, the rules. For all their power, they are bound by the cosmic principles of fair play. If we can force them back into ritualized competition, we can prevent full manifestation, finished Prentice. but it requires humans who know the rules, who've been trained in their methods. The ship's AI announced their approach to Nebraska. Through the view screen, they could see strange atmospheric disturbances forming over the American Midwest, swirling clouds with unnatural geometric patterns. "It's already beginning," murmured Dr. Liang. Prentice faced the 12 students, his expression grave. "You were chosen because each of you excelled under coach tutelage before coming to the academy. You bear their mark but retain your humanity." He gestured to the whistle keys. "Take them. Learn to use them. You have 6 hours before deployment." As the students tentatively took the devices, Orion asked the question on everyone's mind. "And if we fail?" "Then humanity learns the true meaning of sudden death over time," Prentice replied. Night fell over Oak Ridge, Nebraska, but darkness couldn't hide the uncanny glow emanating from the high school football field. The 12 students, now clad in Confederation stealth suits, crouched behind the visitors' bleachers, watching as Coach Reeves paced the 50-yard line. He looked almost normal, almost. But his movements were too fluid, and occasionally his form seemed to flicker, revealing something vast, compressing itself into human shape. "Remember your training," Admiral Prentice's voice crackled through their neural links. "Approach in formation. Theta. Do not engage until both entities are present." Darian's fingers tightened around his whistle key, the metal warm against his skin. During their crash training aboard the Intrepid, they'd learned these devices could temporarily bind a coach's power, forcing them back into regulated competition. "Vitals steady," reported Zara Nouri, former swimming champion from the Mars colonies. Her suit displayed biometric readings from the team. "But I'm picking up massive energy fluctuations from the home team locker room." "That's where Coach Okamura went," confirmed Alara, adjusting her scanner. "And she's changing." On cue, the ground trembled. The door to the locker room burst open with a flash of blue light. What emerged was only vaguely humanoid. Coach Okamura's form now stretched and distorted, her tracksuit rippling with cosmic symbols that hurt the eyes. "Reeves!" Her voice resonated across multiple frequencies. "You violated the boundary! Lines!" Coach Reeves turned slowly, his clipboard transforming into something resembling an ancient staff. "Your recruitment methods broke the covenant, Okamura. The Galactic Athletic Association will hear of this." "The GAA has no jurisdiction in this sector," Coach Okamura snarled, the air around her shimmering with heat. "This is wild territory. Now, move in," ordered Prentice. "Formation Theta." The students emerged from hiding, spreading out in a precise pattern they drilled relentlessly. Both coaches froze, clearly surprised by their appearance. "Human younglings," Coach Reeves said, his voice echoing strangely. "This is not your practice time. Return to your dormitories." Lumi stepped forward, her whistle key raised. "We know what you are." The coaches exchanged glances, a silent communication passing between them. "Impossible," said Coach Okamura. "They're just primary vessels, training stock." "We're a lot more than that," Darian replied, finding his courage. "And we're calling a penalty on this play." He raised the whistle key to his lips and blew. But instead of sound, it released a pulse of golden energy that struck both coaches, momentarily forcing their forms to stabilize. The other students followed suit, their whistles joining in harmonic convergence. The coaches roared in unified outrage, the sound shattering windows across the campus. "You dare!" Coach Reeves's form expanded, growing to twice human height. "You think referee tools can contain us? We've trained your species since you dwelled in caves." "Now, Phase 2, shouted Orion. The students spread wider, each taking position on specific yard markers. As they'd learned during training, these points corresponded to nexus nodes in the coach's manifestation field. "By the ancient rules of competition," announced Ilara, reciting the ritual words Dr. Liang had taught them. We invoke the right of championship challenge. The effect was immediate. Both coaches froze, bound by cosmic law older than Earth itself. A championship challenge requires qualified champions, Coach Okamura said slowly, her form shrinking slightly. You are merely students. We are champions, Zara replied. Each of us selected for the Galactic Academy for excellence in fields you cultivated. Admiral Prentice's voice came through their comms. It's working. Their energy signatures are stabilizing. But then Coach Reeves smiled, a terrifying expression that revealed too many teeth in impossible configurations. A challenge requires stakes, he said. What do you offer as forfeit should you lose? Before any of them could respond, both coaches raised their arms simultaneously. The football field's yard lines began to glow with eldritch light, creating a containment grid that trapped the students inside. Let's make this interesting, Coach Okamura purred, her form fluid again. If we win, we claim full manifestation rights and your planet's competitive essence. And if we win, asked Darian, then we accept binding arbitration through the Galactic Athletic Association, Coach Reeves replied. But know this, younglings, no human team has ever defeated a coach in direct competition. The field was transforming around them, reality bending as the cosmic entities shaped their arena. The bleachers twisted into impossible geometries. The goalposts stretched skyward until they pierced low-hanging clouds. Accept these terms, Coach Okamura demanded, or watch as we settle our dispute unimpeded. The students huddled together, their neural link creating a private channel. We have no choice, said Alara. If they fully manifest— But what kind of competition are we talking about? Interrupted Orion. What are the rules? From their neural link, Admiral Prentice spoke. Urgently, accept the challenge. The Confederation is sending reinforcements, but they won't arrive for hours. You need to keep them contained in regulated competition until then. Darian stepped forward, heart pounding. We accept your challenge, coaches. Name the contest. Both. Cosmic entities smiled in perfect unison, their forms beginning to meld with the transformed stadium around them. The decathlon, they said together, of cosmic disciplines. The sky above tore open, revealing star patterns from galaxies that had no business being visible from Earth. The competition had begun. The first event materialized around them, a track that spiraled impossibly, defying Euclidean geometry as it looped through dimensions visible only at the corner of the eye. The chronometric sprint, announced Coach Reeves, now hovering several feet above the field. A simple race, but not merely through space. You will race through moments in time, continued Coach Okamura. Each lap ages you forward or backward depending on your lane position. Zara stepped forward. As the fastest among them, she was their natural choice. I'll take this one, she said, stretching muscles trained in Martian low-gravity tanks. Brave, Coach Okamura smiled thinly. I will represent our side. In a blur of motion, Coach Okamura's form compressed into something sleek and predatory, taking position at the starting line. Zara joined her, whistle key hanging around her neck on a thin chain. 3 laps, explained Coach Reeves. First to return to present chronology wins. Begin! They shot forward with the crack of what sounded like thunder. Zara ran with perfect form, but Coach Okamura flowed more than ran, her substance stretching and contracting with each stride. She's shifting temporal mass, Dr. Liang's voice came through their comms. Zara needs to maintain chronological anchoring. As if hearing this advice, Zara gripped her whistle key as she ran, using it as a tether to present reality. With each lap, her appearance flickered, briefly becoming a child, then showing gray at her temples, but she maintained her core integrity. Coach Okamura, however, rippled through ages with alarming speed, sometimes appearing ancient, sometimes infantile, using temporal shifts to gain momentum. On the final lap, Coach Okamura pulled ahead, but Zara blew her whistle key while running. The pulse of energy momentarily disrupted the coach's transformation, causing her to stumble as she crossed into normal time. "The human wins event 1, announced Coach Reeves dispassionately. The coaches exchanged glances. "Interesting," Coach Okamura murmured. "They've weaponized regulation tools." The field shifted again, the track dissolving as gravity itself seemed to warp around them. Objects began materializing, javelins made of condensed starlight, discusses that seemed to contain miniature galaxies, hammers forged from neutron star material. "The Cosmic Field Challenge," announced Coach Reeves. 4 events: throw, leap, lift, and launch. Points awarded for both distance and dimensional penetration. Orion stepped forward. Before joining the academy, he'd been a decathlete with a particular talent for field events. "I'll handle this," he said, approaching the implements with cautious respect. Coach Reeves shrunk down to merely 8 feet tall, taking form as a massive humanoid with too many joints in his arms. "I will compete." What followed defied description in ordinary terms. Orion threw the javelin with perfect technique, the celestial spear piercing not just distance but reality itself, tearing a small hole in the fabric of space-time before returning to solid form 200 meters away. Coach Reeves countered by throwing his implement into tomorrow, literally. The javelin vanished completely, only to reappear seconds later, having aged decades in the process. The other events followed similar patterns: cosmic long jump across probability fields, shot put into gravity wells, hammer throw through causal barriers. Each time, Orion used his whistle key strategically, forcing Coach Reeves to adhere to something resembling normal physics at crucial moments. When the cosmic dust settled, they had tied. 1 victory each, Coach Okamura noted. "The pattern suggests this may be more interesting than anticipated." The field transformed again, this time into a massive chessboard where the pieces shimmered with internal light. "Strategic manipulation," announced Coach Reeves. "Mind against mind," Ilara stepped forward. "I'll take this one." "Then I shall counter," Coach Okamura replied, shrinking to merely 7 feet tall, her form crystallizing into sharp angles. This was no ordinary chess match. The pieces moved according to thoughts, strategy manifesting directly from mind to board. Sometimes pieces transformed mid-move, adapting to new rules both coaches seemed to invent on the fly. Ilara's cybernetically enhanced mind processed possibilities at stunning speed, but Coach Okamura had been playing games with civilizations for millennia. The match stretched across what felt like hours, compressed into minutes. Cosmic principles manifested as pawn structures. Causal relationships became knight forks. Probability cascades turned into queen sacrifices. In the end, Ilara found herself in an impossible position, checkmate in 5 moves no matter what she did. But then she smiled, touching her whistle key. "I invoke Article 7, Section 12 of the Intergalactic Competition. Rulebook, the Paradox Gambit." Both coaches froze, clearly shocked. "How could you possibly know of that rule?" demanded Coach Reeves. "Because we've studied you," Ilara replied. "For every hour you spent training us, the Confederation spent 10 analyzing your methods." She blew the whistle key, and the chess pieces rearranged themselves into a pattern that simultaneously put both sides in check, a configuration impossible in traditional chess, but permissible under the arcane rules of cosmic competition. Stalemate. "Via paradox," ruled Coach Reeves reluctantly. "The match is drawn." The score stood at 1.5 points each, with more events to come. But the humans were beginning to understand the cosmic game being played, and more importantly, how to bend its rules. 3 more events passed in rapid succession. Dimensional dodgeball, where the balls existed in multiple planes simultaneously. Quantum gymnastics, requiring routines that defied not just gravity but causality. And something called probability wrestling, which left Darien with memories of moves he'd never performed yet somehow won with. The humans had managed to secure narrow victories in 2 events, while the coaches claimed 1 more, bringing the overall score to 3.5 for the humans and 2.5 for the coaches. But the entities were growing visibly agitated. Each defeat seemed to weaken the restraints they normally placed on their true forms. Coach Reeves now stretched nearly 12 feet tall, his skin occasionally becoming transparent to reveal swirling nebulae beneath. Coach Okamura's lower half had abandoned humanoid pretense entirely, becoming a twisting column of mathematical equations given physical form. "This is taking too long," growled Coach Reeves, his voice causing small objects around the field to vibrate. "The final event shall be absolute athletics. Winner takes all." The playing field transformed one last time, expanding to encompass what seemed like miles of terrain, each section representing a different challenge. Obstacle courses that reconfigured themselves continuously, climbing walls that extended into the stratosphere, race paths that looped through probability knots. All competitors, all challenges, simultaneously, announced Coach Okamura. "Your entire team against ours." The humans huddled together. "This is it," Lumi whispered. "If we win this, we force them back into regulated competition. And if we lose," asked Zara, "then Earth becomes ground zero for a coach war that will rupture reality across 3 star systems," Darien replied grimly. Admiral Prentice's voice crackled through their neural link. "Reinforcements are 30 minutes out. You just need to hold them to the rules. A little longer." But as they took their positions, something unexpected happened. The air behind the coaches tore open, creating a portal through which stepped an immense figure wearing what appeared to be a cosmic referee's uniform, black and white stripes that bent light around them, a whistle larger than a human head hanging. From their neck, "Illegal competition!" the newcomer boomed, voice reverberating across dimensions. "Unsanctioned tournament detected." Both coaches paled visibly. "Commissioner Vex," Coach Reeves said, immediately shrinking several feet. "This is a private dispute involving uncertified human participants," the commissioner replied, producing a clipboard that unfolded into what looked like a star chart. "The Galactic Athletic Association explicitly forbids direct competition with developmental species without proper permits." "They challenged us," protested Coach Okamura. "After you initiated an unsanctioned coach war," countered Commissioner Vex, making notes that burned themselves into reality. "Section 475B clearly states all interspecies competitions must be registered 60 solar cycles in advance." The humans exchanged bewildered glances. "Is this bureaucracy saving us?" Ilara whispered. "The cosmic entities have rules," murmured Orion. "That's what Admiral Prentice was counting on." Commissioner Vex turned toward the human team. "You, developmental, species representatives, did you file Form GR7932 Epsilon before initiating championship challenge proceedings?" Darien stepped forward. I believe the Confederation handled the paperwork." The cosmic referee's many eyes narrowed. "The Confederation has no filing authority in coach class competitions." Vex turned back to the coaches. "This entire proceeding is null and void. Both of you are hereby suspended from manifestation privileges for 1 local solar cycle." "That's not fair," roared Coach Reeves, beginning to expand again, cosmic energy crackling around him. Commissioner Vex raised an enormous whistle to lips that weren't entirely there. "Challenge my authority, and I'll make it a millennium." "Wait," interjected Lumi, suddenly. "What if we could prove this competition has legitimate standing?" All cosmic entities turned toward her. "We invoke the right of championship challenge," she continued quickly. "Under the ancient compact, Section 3, Paragraph 17. Any sentient species may challenge coach-class entities when said entities threaten planetary stability through unauthorized warfare. Commissioner Vex froze, then slowly consulted the cosmic clipboard. That regulation hasn't been invoked in 7 million years. But it's still valid, Darian added, catching on to Lumi's strategy. And we have documentation of their violations. He held up his neural link, projecting holographic evidence of the coach's building conflict, the interdimensional harvesting technology, the boundary incursions, the competitive essence siphoning. Commissioner Vex studied the evidence, then sighed, a sound like solar wind. The challenge is provisionally accepted. However, as officiating commissioner, I must oversee the final event myself. Both coaches looked horrified. Under commissioner oversight? Coach Okamura protested. That restricts our manifestation options. Considerably. Those are the rules, Commissioner Vex replied implacably. Unless you prefer immediate suspension? The coaches reluctantly agreed. As Commissioner Vex took position at the center of the transformed field, the humans felt a subtle shift in the competitive dynamic. The cosmic referee's presence enforced a level of fairness that hadn't existed before. Prepare for absolute athletics, announced Commissioner Vex, raising an arm. Final event commencing in 3, 2, 1. The whistle blew and chaos erupted, but chaos bound by rules, regulated by cosmic law that even the coaches couldn't violate under the commissioner's watchful gaze. The humans sprinted, climbed, jumped, and navigated the impossible course, their whistle keys glowing with accumulated power. The coaches flowed through the challenges with inhuman grace, but found themselves consistently restricted by Commissioner Vex's strict interpretation of competition regulations. No extra-dimensional shortcuts, Reeves, the commissioner would call. Okamura, standard gravitational interaction only. As they approached the finish line, a construct that seemed to exist simultaneously at the end of every challenge, Admiral Prentice's voice came through their neural link one final time. The reinforcements are here. Time for your secret weapon. Darian nodded to his teammates. As one, they raised their whistle keys and blew a perfect harmonic chord, a sound they'd practiced relentlessly aboard the Intrepid. The wave of regulatory energy washed across the field, temporarily binding the coaches to their most human forms. In that moment of vulnerability, the students crossed the finish line together, a fraction of a second before their cosmic opponents. Commissioner Vex's whistle blew with finality. Competition concluded. Victory to the developmental species representatives. The Tetsi, Nebraska sky gradually returned to normal as Commissioner Vex documented the competition results on the cosmic clipboard. Stars that had no business being visible from Earth faded from view. The football field, which had stretched across dimensional boundaries, contracted back to regulation size. Coach Reeves and Coach Okamura stood side by side, diminished but still, imposing, their forms now mostly stable in human appearance. The only hints of their true nature were their eyes. Coach Reeves's swirling with galaxies, Coach Okamura's shimmering like quantum probabilities. As per the terms of defeat, intoned Commissioner Vex, you are both bound to accept GAA arbitration regarding your territorial dispute. And what does that entail? Asked Darian, still gripping his whistle key tightly. Commissioner Vex turned to the humans. The Galactic Athletic Association will assign oversight coaches to both institutions. Competitive activities will continue under strict regulation. No unauthorized power manifestations, no recruitment violations, no boundary incursions. So, they just go back to being high school coaches? Lumi asked incredulously. It is their primary function on this world, Commissioner Vex replied. Cultivating competitive spirit, training physical vessels, harvesting achievement energy, all vital services permitted under your planet's developmental classification. Admiral Prentice approached, accompanied by several Confederation officers. Commissioner, we request permanent GAA liaison status for Earth operations. The cosmic referee considered this. Granted, the Confederation has demonstrated adequate understanding of Coach regulatory principles. This isn't over, Coach Reeves growled, though his voice had lost much of its dimensional resonance. These humans have tasted cosmic competition now. They'll want more. Is that a threat? Prentice asked sharply. An observation, Coach Okamura replied. They've been changed by this experience. The whistle energy they've channeled leaves a mark. Commissioner Vex made a final notation on the clipboard. These 12 humans are hereby granted honorary referee, status Class 3. They will assist in monitoring coach activities on Earth as part of their Confederation duties. Wait, what? Alara blinked. We're cosmic referees now? Junior grade, Vex corrected. Limited jurisdictional authority, but sufficient to maintain local equilibrium. As dawn broke over the football field, Confederation ships decloaked overhead, sleek, vessels that would appear as weather phenomena to most human observers. Medical teams teleported down to check on the students, whose bodies had endured physical stresses far beyond normal parameters. You 12 have accomplished something unprecedented, Admiral Prentice said, pride evident in his voice. Not only averting a coach war, but establishing a new regulatory framework for Earth. Darian looked at his whistle key, which now bore intricate markings that hadn't been there before. So, we just go back to being students? Pretend none of this happened? Commissioner Vex overheard. You return to your studies at the Academy, but with new responsibilities. Earth needs trained referees who understand both human and cosmic perspectives. The coaches, now bound by GAA regulations, stood silently as containment teams installed monitoring equipment throughout the stadium, devices disguised as ordinary scoreboard upgrades and field maintenance technology. One question remains, said Coach Okamura suddenly. How did the Confederation know to give these specific humans our regulatory tools? All eyes turned to Professor Krell, who had just teleported down with the Confederation team. The Centaurian's metallic scales glinted in the morning light. Because I was once like you, Krell said, addressing the coaches directly. Before I chose to embrace my teaching role fully and abandon the competitive aspects. A retired coach, Coach Reeves whispered, recognition dawning. Impossible. None of us ever retire. I found greater fulfillment in genuine education than in energy harvesting, Krell replied simply. Just as some of your kind might, if given the chance. As the Confederation prepared to teleport everyone back to their ships, Lumi approached the coaches. Will you remember any of this when you return to your human roles? We'll remember everything, Coach Okamura said quietly. We always do. We've witnessed every moment of human history, guided your species through its development, shaped its competitive spirit. For what purpose? Asked Darion. Coach Reeves almost smiled. Because one day, humanity might be ready to join the greater games. Today was, perhaps, the first qualifying round. Commissioner Vex signaled that it was time to depart. As teleportation fields engulfed the students, Admiral Prentice and the Confederation teams, they caught a final glimpse of the coaches, standing on their football field, once again looking like ordinary physical education teachers, whistles hanging around their necks. But now the students knew what those whistles truly were. Back aboard the Intrepid, as Earth shrank in the view screen and they prepared. To return to Galactic Academy Station Delta, Darian turned to his fellow students. So we're cosmic referees now, he said, examining his permanently changed whistle key. Guardians of the rules. Protectors of Earth, added Alara, and students with a ton of makeup work, groaned Orion, checking the Academy assignments they'd missed. They laughed, a release of tension after their impossible adventure. But underneath the laughter was a new understanding. that the universe operated according to rules far more complex and ancient than they'd ever imagined, and that sometimes the most powerful figures weren't the ones making the most noise, but the ones quietly enforcing the rules from the sidelines. As Galactic Academy Station Delta appeared in the distance, Admiral Prentice approached them one last time. "The coach war has been averted," he said, "but this is just the beginning. Earth hosts dozens of these entities, each with their own agendas. You 12 are now part of something much bigger than yourselves." "The referee corps," Lumi suggested with a smile. "The whistleblowers," countered Zara. Whatever they would call themselves, one thing was certain. The students from the Death World had proven themselves on a cosmic playing field, and the game was just beginning. Through the viewport, stars streaked by as the ship entered hyperspace. Somewhere out there, other coaches were pushing boundaries, testing limits. And somewhere, new human students were running laps, doing push-ups, playing organized sports, unknowingly preparing for competitions beyond their wildest imaginations. The coach war had been averted, but the greater game continued. And now humanity had players on the cosmic field.